Hi everyone, David with Builderbox here with another quick tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at some RFI basics. So if you're a project engineer charged with managing RFIs on a project, maybe you're a subcontractor who's been invited to Builderbox to submit RFIs in the system, or maybe you're an architect or other design team member who has to review and answer RFIs through Builderbox. This video is for you. Let's dive right into it. But before I show you how to process an RFI, let's get familiar with the RFI module and the view of the log. You will find the RFI or Request for Information module on the left-hand side of your screen in your project. Simply click on Request for Information. This will bring up the RFI log view. Notice that by default, the view will limit items to just those things that are in your court. You can change that easily with the view filters up at the top. You can easily find what you're looking for in the Builderbox RFI log. You can sort the view in any way that you want by clicking on the column headers. That will sort the log according to that column header in either ascending or descending order. You can also search the log for any terms or keywords that you would like, or maybe specification section, RFI number, status, author. Simply enter the term you're looking for down in the search bar. Here are all my mechanical RFIs. Or maybe my Division 3. If the log doesn't contain the columns that you're looking for, you can turn columns on and off easily in the settings menu. Just click on Manage Columns. To view an RFI, simply double-click on it in the RFI log, and it will open up. Okay, let's go ahead and create an RFI. In the RFI module, right at the top right of the screen, you will see this big orange button with Process New RFI on it. Simply click it. Here's the Builderbox RFI form. Note that depending on the project setup for your specific project, this form might look a little bit different. This is somewhat customizable. The system already knows who you are based on your login and what company you work at, so you don't have to fill in some of these things. They're automatic. Also, based on the specific workflow, you will only have the option to send an RFI to the company that you are allowed to per the workflow. The subject, of course, is a required field. You can also enter the date that you would like to have this RFI back, and fill out any other pull-down menus or questions that are part of the form. You can select the specification section to assign this RFI to. Since this list is pretty long, you can use dynamic filtering to find what you're looking for. Simply enter your question in the question box. If you have a recommended solution, you can include it here as well. You can, of course, attach information to this RFI as collateral. And speaking of attachments, the Builderbox RFI form contains all the fields that are traditionally included in a cover letter or perhaps a transmittal for the RFI. So information about who the RFI comes from, who it's going to, the date, required date, cost impact, all of those things are already captured here. So you do not need to include your own form with that information as an attachment. That would be redundant. Later on, when we create a PDF package of everything that is included in this RFI, those kinds of things would be redundant and would just make the RFI a lot harder to read. So you do not need to include this kind of form as an attachment. Because we have a workflow already set up, the people who are responsible for reviewing and answering this RFI have already been pre-populated. In fact, in this case, the system will not even let you change this. This has already been decided on. You certainly can add followers, which is like CCing somebody on an email. Followers will receive a notification and a link to the RFI, but they're not responsible for answering or reviewing it. Once that you are done filling out the form, simply click on Submit and confirm. This RFI has been submitted. Let's take a look at reviewing RFIs now. Because on this particular project, I am designated as the person responsible for reviewing RFIs for completeness and accuracy before they move on to the architect for response. I have received a notification, and the new RFI we created is now in my court. I can see it right here in the log. We'll go ahead and double-click it to open it. All the information we just filled in the RFI form is present. Here's the question. Here's the attachment, which I can open or download. I can also see where in the workflow this document is and what the next steps are. The workflows are very customizable, so I'm not going to get into too much detail as to how they work in this particular video, but Builderbox makes it very easy to create complex workflows to match just about any situation. Also, all Builderbox documents include a comment thread on the right-hand side of the document itself that allow you to carry out a conversation and provide context for how to answer this particular RFI. This is not where you would want to capture the official answer, though. I will show you that in a minute. When reviewing an RFI, you have three options. You can either approve the RFI as is, you can deny the RFI, or you can revise and send the RFI forward. These options are pretty self-explanatory. If I approve the RFI, I will move it to the next step in the workflow without making any modifications to it. I can deny the RFI if I think that this is a question that is already answered in the contract document somewhere, or if maybe the question is not posed in the correct way. If I click on deny, I have the ability to add any comments I want for the author to look at as to why I'm denying this RFI, and the author will have the opportunity to revise it and resubmit it. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this for now. The third option is to revise and send forward. What this is for me to have an opportunity to make some modifications to this RFI or maybe add further context. Let's go ahead and try that. I'll confirm that indeed I want to do this. The question and recommended solution, as well as the attachment section, is now available for me to edit. The rest of the form, however, is not. All this information is already baked in. I can go ahead and add further information to the recommended solution. And I could even add another attachment if I would like to. I'll go ahead and save and approve it for now. Notice that the RFI now shows the context that I added to it. Also, Builderbox has created a new revision of this RFI so that you can see what the original question was. Here's the original. And here's revision 1. Now that I have approved and modified this RFI, it has moved over one step over to the next step of the workflow. Let's take a look at how to answer the RFI next. Because an RFI is a contract document, posting a response is an action that can only be taken by somebody who is assigned to do so. We can do this automatically with workflows in Builderbox, but it's typically the architect or some other member of the design team. Let's take a look at how to post a response for this particular RFI. Because Rose now has that RFI with ball in her court, she will receive a notification to that effect. When she looks at the RFI, the post response option will be available. As at any point in the workflow, she will have access to all the information in the RFI form, the question, recommended solution, attachments, and any revisions that might have been part of this document. The field for the official response to the RFI is now available. Any comments or activity on this particular RFI is shown on the right-hand side. As mentioned before, this is not the place to put the official response, but you can carry out a conversation or collaboration with other members of your team in this area of the RFI. Notice that I can use the @ symbol to mention somebody who will now get notified about my comment in this RFI. This way, we can include Harvey in the conversation. Anything that he has to say about this RFI is always going to be archived with this particular document. So later on, when we create a PDF of this, all these comments will be part of the thread. So now we have some confirmation, and we can post the answer to this RFI. I could attach another file in here if I needed to. And I will go ahead and submit the response. As the person responsible for answering an RFI, Rose actually has another option as well, which is to forward and assign this to somebody else. For instance, if this was an RFI that needed to be answered by a mechanical consultant, Rose could forward this to anybody on Builderbox. Simply pick the company and the person responsible. And click on Forward RFI. Now that the RFI has been answered and approved fully by the general contractor, the author of the original RFI is going to get a notification and have the opportunity to come review the RFI and review the response. We have lots of options in Builderbox as to what happens at this point. A PDF could be created automatically. An entire group of subcontractors could be notified with a link to this RFI to review with a disclaimer saying, please notify us within a certain amount of time if this is going to work for you, etc. All those things are a little bit more advanced and we won't cover them here, but they certainly are available. The RFI in Builderbox contains a complete digital audit trail of everything that has happened to this document. We also have the ability to zip this RFI into a PDF package, including all of the attachments. Here's what the PDF document looks like. We hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Check out the rest of the YouTube channel and find more tutorials on other features of Builderbox. You may consider subscribing to the channel as we often post new videos.